Thank you all for coming. It means a lot to me. I'm going to take you on a journey that begins with the worst day of my life. It's a day that is tough for me to talk about, but I'm encouraged and strengthened by the words of Christian author Henry Nouwen, who writes, "Tell your story in freedom. The years that lie behind you, with all their struggles and pains, will in time be remembered only as the way that led you to your new life." The worst day of my life and my family's life is June 27th, 2005. That is the day I had a full-blown, complete, and total nervous breakdown. I spent 5 weeks in the hospital, during which time our home and my business were raided by 22 state and federal agents. This was followed by a year-long grand jury investigation, resulting in convictions. I went to prison for 2.5 years. I did time in some of the highest security and most dangerous prisons in the state, starting at Cook County Jail, then to Stateville and Joliet. I was then transferred to a maximum security prison in Galesburg, Illinois, where I spent 22 hours a day confined in a 6-foot by 9-foot cell. I then went to Vandalia Prison in downstate Illinois, where I experienced the hell of solitary confinement. My last year of incarceration was spent in East Moline, a minimum security prison that sits along the banks of the Mississippi River. Even though it's minimum security in East Moline, it's still dangerous, it's still prison. I'm going to tell you about some of my experience I had along the way and some people I met. But it was before I went to prison that I received invaluable advice that I live by today. After my nervous breakdown, and after I was released from the hospital in 2005, I read only one book in the 1.5 years before I went to prison. This book was Born Again by Chuck Colson. It took me over a year to read it because my comprehension level was so low. Chuck Colson was chief counsel in the White House during the Nixon administration. He went to a federal prison for 7 months for his involvement in the Watergate scandal. When Chuck Colson got out of prison, he founded Prison Fellowship Ministries, which today ministers to thousands and thousands of inmates and families around the world. When I finished reading Born Again, I thought, I have to meet this author, Chuck Colson. This was certainly a delusional thought on my part. I was having many delusional thoughts, and I knew I would be going to prison in a few short weeks. But through the most unlikely set of circumstances, I met Chuck Colson. And he told me the most important lesson that he learned in prison, that he is no better than anyone else. His words of humility helped me survive in prison, and humility guides me today. Chuck Colson died this past April, but his legacy lives in the multitude of those he touched. I am honored and humbled to be a recipient of the Charles W. Colson Scholarship at Wheaton College, where I'm completing my graduate program in prison ministry. Chuck Colson wrote his powerful reflections in a letter to me in prison. When I was sent to prison, my greatest fear was that I would never be able to do significant things in life again. Now I see I would never have been able to do anything truly significant without prison.